Well, there's been drama in the SPFL and drama at Raith Rovers, so I'm going to go with what I know best. Let's start with the Raith Rovers drama. So, yesterday there was a statement released by the club, and it was about pyro and destroying seats at the Dunfermline game on Friday, the 11th of March, I think, is when that was when it was. It was on a Friday and it was early March, I know that. But let's just jump into this statement and let's get into my opinion afterwards. So as we can see, we've got the club's statement on unacceptable behaviour from the 1st of April 2025. Said, thank you to each of the 4,282 Rovers fans who supported the team in our recent Fife derby match. However, we cannot ignore certain unacceptable behaviours that took place on the night. Bringing and discharging pyrotechnics, damaging seats and engaging in disruptive behaviour are all unacceptable and will be not tolerated at Raith Rovers. These actions violate both our Code of Conduct and the SPFL's unacceptable conduct rules, harming the club and the matchday experience to everyone. We are committed to working with groups to improve the matchday atmosphere at Starks Park. However, our overriding priority is ensuring a safe and enjoyable environment for all supporters. Any evidence of wrongdoing has been and will continue to be fully investigated, and we are working with the relevant authorities to take the necessary steps. Let's continue to support the team, but in a way that respects everyone. Your backing is vital, and together we can create the best atmosphere for the remainder of the season. So, firstly, I'm not going to pretend that I know anything technical about pyro or really how pyro works. All I know is that it's very hot and it's very colourful. That's pretty much all I know. And that it's quite popular in Germany, for example. Sort of Germany, Turkey, those kind of areas. Really cool pyro displays. It's awesome. Pyro's cool, in my opinion. However, I also know pyro isn't the safest thing in the world. It's really hot and it's not good for people with asthma, sort of respiratory kind of problems, breathing issues, kind of things like that. That's all I know about pyro. I watched one YouTube video about pyro about 4 weeks ago. That's all I've got. So I'm not the most knowledgeable guy, but if I'm thinking about it, I get where the club's coming from because pyro is outlawed. It's illegal, at least in here, at least in Scotland. You can't use pyro in football games. You can't bring pyro into football games. And yeah, you can't. With that being said, I get wanting to create a sort of really cool kind of European-inspired sort of ultra-like atmosphere. Even though usually it's only one bit of pyro that's going off. It's still, I get what it's like from an atmosphere perspective, but the only thing is that it's not, regulated pyro. I know with certain clubs, pyro is a regulated thing. You've got certain pyro sections of the ground, and you've got certain sets of fans that are trained to use pyro and all that kind of stuff. And we don't have that. It's a little bit more improvised. It's not, trained. It's just throw a bit of pyro onto the field or something, and when something big happens and we score a goal, pretty much. And that is not the safest thing in the world. From what I know, pyro's really hot and you're throwing it quite close to where players are. It could, if you're throwing it from far into the stand, you could miss and you could hit the bottom of the stand, and then that pyro could hit other people. Yeah, I get that. I don't know the section of fans that threw the pyro, so I don't know, what their intention must have been to create atmosphere and things, but I don't know where they were on the ground. I don't know where the pyro came from because I didn't see it on the match playback, to be honest, or I don't remember it happening, to be honest. But with pyro, I'm in two places. It's illegal, but I get why people do it. But I think it should be done in a more safer environment, I suppose. Have a dedicated pyro section, but to do that, you'd need to get pyro legalized and all that kind of stuff. So it's tough, but yeah, only thing I'd think is don't throw pyro if you don't know how to use it, would be my main sort of way of saying that. As far as the seats thing, I never saw the seats. I wasn't at the ground. I couldn't go to the game. I was working that night, and I was listening to the game whilst working, which I hope my colleagues never find out. No, but I wasn't. Yeah, but anyway, point being, I wasn't at the game, and with the seats situation, why, why? Even it might have been unintentional. I don't know, but well, clearly not if the club's pointing it out. But why destroy the seats of your own stadium? Was this Dunfermline fans? I have no idea, but it's clearly the article was clearly focusing on Raith Rovers fans, creating a good atmosphere at Raith Rovers and a safe place and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't seem to be focusing on away fans that much. So from what I know, this seems to be based mostly on Raith fans. Why are you destroying the seats, guys? All you're doing is costing the club money. Money that might not, have a lot of to fix this kind of stuff. Money that they're going to have to sacrifice now, and they're not going to be able to use in the transfer market, and ways to upgrade the stadium, ways to make things better for you and me, right? I don't get that. If anyone was at the game and saw this happen, if you could just put an explanation in the comments, that'd be great. If you can explain what you think about Pyro, what do you think about the fans' behaviour here, what do you think should be done? Should Pyro be legalised? Should it not be? I would go yes, but have it be done in a safe environment. Don't just say anyone can bring Pyro in and just throw it everywhere, but we can create these Pyro sections, and then you've got massive, cool, kind of ultra-like atmosphere in Scotland. Amazing. But yeah, things like that. I love safe standing, love a bit Pyro when it's safe, but not when, it's just improvised and anyone can have Pyro, and, it comes down to, I guess, stewards as well. You're going to be searching these fans, but you can't search every single fan. There's upwards of 5,000 fans going to Raith Rovers games, depending on how big the game is, sometimes even more. It's, Stocks Park, it's about 8,600 people or something like that. So you can't search 8,600 individual people. So yeah, I get that it's a security thing, but it's a fan thing, and it's a Scottish football and legal thing that it's all kind of tangled up into one another. But I don't know. I think Pyro should be legalised. I don't think you should be destroying your seats. I think it should be safe Pyro. I don't think you should be destroying your seats. And I think that there should be a dedicated sort of Pyro stand unit, and a dedicated Pyro kind of unit of fans, I guess is what I was trying to say. And also, I don't think you should destroy the streets of your home stadium or anyone's stadium. So yeah, that's my blabbering into the sort of drama. I wasn't expecting that today, but I got that club statement as a notification. I saw it on Twitter and I thought, that is not something I'd expect to happen at Raith Rovers, so I had to talk about it. And I will make a video on the SPFL reforms, is what they're saying that could be happening. So let's hope that it's the good reform and not the bad reform when it comes to league expansion. So thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.